don't understand how you get mad because I want male friends. Like, why
you want male friends?
Why not having? This how God places us, men and women. Just because I'm married to you doesn't mean that I can't have male friends.
Well, you should have walked down the aisle with the whole hood instead of just one man. Because when you came into this relationship, it was understood what I expected from you. I don't believe in females having male friends. That's just me. It was at the door. So
but
now,
why you so
now you think you got me. You think you finna start altering
That's
different?
Not true.
Nah, you got
why
me,
you so
nah,
closed
you
in? Why you not open minded?
What, I'm open to a train, a menage a trois?
Like,
what you want me opening to?
Nah, for real. What make you think I'm gonna get a damn train on me?
Because why you want more than one man around you?
When I was in school, I had male friends and none of them was trying to
hit on me. And ain't none one of them married you, paid a bill, had kids,
that you or nothing.
Okay then, they giving you the bare minimum. Now how the fuck, what I look like giving you all that what you need and ask for from me, and then allowing you go out here, man, to nurture another man with conversation, a woman essence. You know what I'm saying? All this bullshit that you think you got locked in here that you gonna be able to go and give to another nigga. Nah, I'd rather sign on paper, see you on by your way.
I'm not finna play no games with you. That mean you have insecurities in yourself.
No, that mean I'm secure with myself. Because if you go against my mental peace and think I'm finna compromise that to be with you, I'll let you go. Cause what you won't do another week.
Why you gonna have why your mind gonna
because
be
I know what niggas on. And if a female don't understand that, it's because, man, she vulnerable or she willing to herself and be down with whatever that comes behind having male friends.
That don't necessarily mean that. Because
that's exactly what it means for me.
You have to trust me.
I don't listen.
And then on top of that, if I feel like that a male want more than just being friends with me, out of respect of you, I shut that down.
Ass, you not that damn interested to think that a man just want to be friends with you.
To you, I'm not that damn
interested.
Man,
how is that? When you ain't more interested in having sex, obviously, man,
Who said somebody want to have sex?
Any man that ain't willing to come in and take on all this shit I took on with your monkey ass.
That's not necessarily true.
That is the fucking truth. What else he around you for? He ain't gonna contribute toward no bills, none of them kids, or none of them extra habits you got going on.
What they gotta do?
You ain't more interested in pussy. You a married woman wanna go out here and what? Explore the world?
I just don't understand.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, which is to say in the Paleo Hebrew, Yahweh, which is the name of our Heavenly Father, meaning He is, and that is who the world ignorantly calls God. Bahashem, which means in the name, Yahweh Shai, which means He is our salvation, and that is who the world also ignorantly calls Jesus, a so-called black man, who, by the way, only came for the Israelites, all right? Which brings us to our discussion / topic this afternoon. If she don't get it, let her go, all right? If she can't get it, let her go, all right? Save yourself the agony and the headaches, all right? Because what we saw was a married couple and the husband telling the wife how he doesn't want her to have male friends, and she on the other side, or on the other hand, is telling him to be more open-minded. And he went through the spiel of why he don't want her to have male friends, okay? And she's trying to justify everything and meet him with resistance at every turn, all right? And that's another thing about these women you have to be mindful of, that they just want attention, whether it's negative or positive, all right? You will find yourself easily in a back and forth with Eve, because why? She just wants attention, all right? Now, whether that was a skit or not, that's besides the point, all right? The point was made that the husband told his wife that he doesn't want her to have any male friends. And then her slick mouth said, why? Are you insecure? And he said, no, I'm secure with his peace of mind, see? And if the woman isn't bringing you peace of mind, don't deal with her, all right? Do not deal with her, especially in this climate, all right? This temperature, all right? This kingdom, all right? So this is Ephesians 5 and verse 22. It reads, wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands, not your friends, not having male friends. All right. This is why a woman, or should I say a female, was supposed to be given from her father, a male figure, to her husband, another male figure, and not anything in between. But because of the climate or the atmosphere that we're in this wicked kingdom, she could go out and ride the cock carousel all she want, and then decide to settle down when she's in her 40s or 50s, all right, or even in her 30s for that point. Okay, so it says, wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands. See, not Jim, Joe, Bob, Billy, and whatever else male friends you think you're gonna have. All right, it says, as unto the Lord, for the husband is the head of the wife. See, he gets the final say so. All right, because the Lord has put him over your well-being. Okay, he has to be willing to give up his life, as Yahushua did for the church. It says, even as Hamashiach is the head of the church. All right, and he is the savior of the body. Therefore, as the church is subject unto Hamashiach, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything. See? And there's wisdom that you can't get from another man that your husband can give you, because why? One, you're not a man in the first place, and you don't see what other men see. And two, you weren't put in that role to lead. Okay? So this is a clear-cut case where you have a wife that's meeting her Lord, her leader, with, opposition at every turn. This man had to go down the whole list on why he wanted her not to have male friends, okay? And at the end of the day, she gonna do what she want to do, because why? This is Babylon the Great, all right? This is why it was stated earlier, if she don't get it, or if she can't get it, let her go, man. All right? Because what's gonna happen, you gonna find out the hard way. She gonna do whatever she want to do. She gonna have male friends, and then later she gonna tell you that, you know what, I should have listened to you, babe. I ended up sleeping with, Joe or Tyrone, and the child that we had for 5 or 6 years may not be yours. And then what you gonna do? You gonna flip out. More than likely, you're going to do something you ain't got no business doing, and then you're going to end up behind bars, and she going to what? Move on with her life, all right? This is why we got to use what? We got to use discernment, all right? We got to use wisdom. As it says, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, all right? Now, we know a woman's supposed to have only one husband, all right? All them male friends and co-workers and things of that nature, it shouldn't fly with you, okay? She should be willing to submit herself to you and do what's asked from you to, further the relationship, okay? It ain't like you asking her to go out there and jump in front of a car. You telling her something that's, beneficial, that she can't see because she's a woman, all right? So it says, verse 24, therefore, as the church is subject unto Hamashiach, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything. All right? In everything. All right? Including instructions. Okay? It says, husbands, love your wives, even as Hamashiach also loved the church and gave himself for it. Right? And her husband went down the list saying that the difference between you and me and these other male friends that you allegedly want to have is that I'm the one that's putting up with you. I'm paying the bills. I'm taking care of your children. I don't know if they got children together, what have you. You see, I'm the one that's doing all this. They ain't doing that, but yet they gonna try to get that box. All right. And as I said, Eve just wants that attention. She wants to be argumentative. All right. She wants attention, whether it's positive or negative. She don't care. She just wants to be the center of attention. She knows she should have shut it up after the first time he told her, and after the second time he explained to her, but she just kept meeting him with resistance at every turn. All right. It says, verse 26, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word. Right. And we can tell that that man had experience. Okay. He either knew from first-hand experience or from someone else that told him or had experience and gave him that knowledge. Okay. But the point of the matter is, hey, these women, all right, especially these westernized American women, especially the so-called black woman, she's not for you, all right? She's your enemy, man. All right, now, are all black women like that? So-called black women like that? No, but the vast majority are, all right? They're going to meet you with resistance. They're going to be combative. They're going to, show their horns, okay? Because why? This devil has given them that autonomy to flex their whatever they believe power that they have. All right. Now, in the ancient days, you wouldn't be going back and forth with her like that. All right. She'll get in place and she'll get in place real quick. All right. Because being brought up on charges worthy of being stoned to death is enough to put any fear in any woman's heart, which is her mind. All right. Because that's what's always going to be breed when you have all those male friends. One thing going to lead to another. You're going to slip up. He might slip up, fall on you, take your clothes off. Next thing you know, y'all doing the naked hokey pokey, okay? And you can't blame it on the alcohol, all right? Because you've been warned, okay? So let's get this in, is it Micah? And then we'll get ready to close out. This is Micah chapter 7 and verse 10. It reads, then she that is my enemy shall see it, and shame shall cover her which said unto me, where is Yahweh thy power? See, these women, no matter how good they make you believe that they love you, quote unquote, in parentheses, or submit to you, in parentheses, they don't have your best interest at heart. They always looking for the next biggest thing to upgrade, all right? That's why she wants multiple guy friends, okay? Just for a just-in-case scenario, all right? It's rare that you're going to find one that's actually, righteous, all right? Because it's not in their nature, okay? Especially in the climate and the atmosphere that we in with this wicked society, kingdom that we under. It says, and shame shall cover her which said unto me, where is Yahweh thy power? My eyes shall behold her. Now shall she be trodden down as the mirror of the streets. Okay. And they getting ready to come up out of that independent, self-will, whatever else type of spirit that they in. Because, hey, once all hell breaks loose, they going to see how much they really do need a man. All right. And for the most part, and for the most of them, they ain't going to be able to get a man of the Lord. All right. They're going to have to be able to settle for what's ever out there. All right. And it ain't going to be enough to get them through the times that we get ready to go into. All right. So you women that have a man, you better listen up and do what he tells you to. All right. Especially if it's coming from out of the Bible, man. All right. Because you ain't going to have too many more options, especially you get up in age. You in your late 30s, mid 30s, 40s, 50s, so on and so forth. Not too many men going to want to deal with you because why? You already set in your ways. Okay. You already set in your ways. That's why I say, I don't know if the saying is you can't teach a old dog new tricks, okay? See, they have to be retaught, all right? That's why it's easier to train a puppy, okay? You gotta get them while they, haven't been, what's the word I'm looking for? Haven't been corrupted, okay? This is why in the ancient times, the men dealt with virgins, okay? But we know most of the women that we deal with pursuant to, what is that? Let me see if I can get that. Give me 1 second. Is it Amos? Because most of the women that we deal with, they're not virgins, but that's pursuant to prophecy. Because it says our wives shall be harlots in the streets. Okay. This is Amos 7 in verse 17. It reads, therefore, thus saith Yahweh, thy wife shall be an harlot in the city. See, this is why, hey, you up against so many different spirits when you deal with these women that already have penetration, okay? They got so many spirits dwelling on them. They're going to fight and meet you with resistance at every turn you tell them, even if it's for their own benefit, all right? This is why we went into Micah 7. She is thy enemy, all right? They're not satisfied with whatever you do. You can marry them, you can give them the best wedding, and they'll find something to bring up 5, 6, 7, 10 years down the line that you didn't do right. All right? So they'll look for any and every excuse to justify their behavior. All right? It says, therefore, thus saith Yahweh, thy wife shall be an harlot in the city. See? This is why in the ancient world we got virgins. Because why? They weren't tainted or they weren't corrupted by having all other different types of cocks running through them, man. Because they get and take on different spirits when they have that, you know. In this society, in this temperature, you may meet a woman and she may have had about 50 or so, you know, cocks within her by the time she meets you and she wants to settle down, all right? And it says, and thy sons and thy daughters shall fall by the sword, and thy land shall be divided by line, and thou shalt die in a polluted land. We in that polluted land right now, all right? And we can't get no rest, as it tells in Micah 2 and 10, arise and depart, for this is not your rest, for it is, what does it say? For it is polluted, and it will destroy you with a sword destruction. We can't get no rest in this land, all right? Because it's polluted, all right? From everything, from the things we eat, to the things we wear, to our women, okay? And even our children, all right? It's all polluted, man. This is why we're hastening for that day of our Lord and Savior, Yahweh shall return, man. All right? But, hey, for the brothers that's dealing with women and finding themselves in certain similar situations, understand, man. Okay? Understand, all right? Just understand what we up against, all right? And, hey, as it says, what does it say? It says a wicked woman is given as a portion towards a wicked man. So you got to do what's required and asked of you from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And if it's in the cards for you to be dealt a wife, he'll send one that's according to his heart. All right? But don't try to, you know, force the envelope or force the issue and go out and find a wife just for the sake of, you know, having one. All right? Because you don't know what you're getting in this climate. It says, and Israel shall surely go into captivity forth of his land. See? So, hey, I know we behind some real tough situations and we behind enemy lines, but hey, this word gives us solace, gives us peace, all right? Knowing that, hey, it ain't gonna always be like this, man. All right. In the kingdom, we're gonna have our wives in order, our children, we're gonna have, you know, real food, real air to breathe. All right, it's gonna be like night and day when we get in the kingdom and we see how things are supposed to be ran as opposed to now. All right, but we got to continue to fight and endure up until the end. Okay, this is what we up against. All right, they've turned our own women against us. They weaponized us. They weaponized them. Salakia. Okay, and who is they? Esau, Edom. All right, the number one culprit. He's the one that did it with that feminist movement. All right. This is why they're in the state that they're in. All right. Combative, argumentative, don't want to listen. You could tell them 100 times till you're blue in the face and they still gonna come up with a stupid ass excuse why they don't want to see it your way. All right. This is why brothers just decided to, you know, for the most part, ride it out by themselves, man. All right. If they get them something in between times, they'll get them something, but they ain't gonna, you know, quote unquote, lock them down because they've already been, you know, corrupted. All right. They've already been tainted. All right. But yeah, if she can't get it, let her go. Okay. Because you're going to corrupt yourself and you're going to disrupt your peace of mind. All right. If she can't get it, as it says after the first and second ammunition, hey, let her go. Okay. Now, if it be right with her to stay with you, pertaining to the truth, hey, let her stay with you. All right. But if she can't get it and she don't want you to understand why she can't have multiple guy friends and what's the harm in that, hey, give her walking papers, man. Because more than likely, if you ride this thing out and see how it's going to end out, she going to tell you that she slipped up and went out for a few drinks with one of her male friends at work. One thing led to another. Next thing you know, they in a hotel room with 2 bottles of Patron, a bag of, bubblegum Kush. And 9 months later, she didn't want to tell you that was her friend's, baby. So she allowed you to raise that for 15, 16 years and then sprung it on you. And now you looking like a damn complete and utter moron. All right. Because why? You didn't want to let her go. All right. If she can't get it, let her go. Okay. Now this is 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 8. It reads, be sober, be vigilant. See, the Lord gives you signs to let you know, all right, that this ain't the one. Okay. But if you don't listen, guess what? You're going to have to pay the price. As we stated earlier, a wicked woman is the portion for a wicked man. All right. If you ain't doing what's required and asked of you, he may send you a quote unquote damsel in distress that has all the workings and fixings that you like. See? But it's in your detriment because why? You haven't kept the law, statute, commandments to the best of your ability. You haven't showed your faith in Yahweh Shai. You haven't did what's required and asked of you. So you may look at it as a blessing, but in actuality, it's a curse. Okay? So this is why we pay attention to what our surroundings are like. And this is why we always measure everything up against the truth. Okay? And we use it for a teaching lesson. And whether that was a skit or not, it was still pertinent because instances like that do occur. All right. So this is 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 8. It reads, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, and devil just goes into deceiver. All right. And hey, our women, they come in that same spirit as Esau, Edom, as the devil, the deceiver. All right. Because they'll play that damsel. Oh, I just want to have a few friends. Why can't you be open? Why can't you be more open-minded like Tyrone? See, now she's starting to compare you against Tyrone, man. All right. When she wasn't saying the name Tyrone in the beginning, but now she feel bold enough because she's been getting, information put in her ear from Tyrone, and now she's trying. Hey, that's why it says if she shall learn anything, let her learn from her husband at home. All right, not Tyrone on the job. You see, this is why females really ain't supposed to be in the workforce, man. Okay, because they're easily influenced. All right, here it is, and I've seen it. I've witnessed it firsthand. All right, at a job I worked with, a married woman ended up having an affair on her husband, or let me say, having an affair because they was, doing on-job shenanigans, and she was married. Whether or not the divorce was final or not, that's besides the point, man. All right, but these women are easily influenced. So it says, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. Right? See? And you got to always protect your peace of mind. All right? That's your sobriety. That's your soberness. Okay? And you can't get that peace of mind without this word, this truth. All right? So be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. All right? So with that being said, pray someone was edified through this lesson. And until the next time, if it be the Lord's will, stay strong, stay in the faith. We're almost home. Shalom. Peace.